Don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our 2 newly released books, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? These books feature over 100 stories from current and former coaches, players, executives, and entertainers from across the football landscape, describing what got them involved in the game, what they love about it, and what life lessons the game taught them. You can find your copy or order your copy from our website at footballgameplan.com/books.
What's up, FCS football fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook with footballgameplan.com.
And I'm Kevin Marshall from AnyGivenSaturday.com.
And we are the hosts of the FCS Wedge presented by AnyGivenSaturday.com.
Check your local listings for station and time in your area.
Looking at my keys to victory for both teams in this ball game, starting with Jacksonville State, I think they have to win the battle up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Defensively, they're tremendous athletes in the front seven, and they're facing a very stout and strong offensive line in North Dakota State. Now, on the flip side, their offensive line is big and athletic, and they're facing a gap, disciplined defensive front in North Dakota State. So they have to win that battle up front if they want to win the ball game, and that goes for both sides of the ball. And I think they have to steal possessions away from the Bison. The Bison's offense is similar to what you would see from an option offense, which how they are able to own the time of possession and force you to maximize your own possession. Now, if you're able to get some 3 and outs and force them to break their own tendencies, that's a win for your defense. And I think this is your classic speed versus power type game. Jacksonville State has tremendous speed at every level on both sides of the ball, and they're facing a very strong power team from the Big Sky area, not the Big Sky Conference, but the Big Sky area in North Dakota State. This team can beat you up physically. How can they win that battle of power with their speed will be something that you want to keep an eye on in this ball game. Moving over to North Dakota State in this ball game, I look at that defensive line. Can they beat those Gamecock offensive linemen to the spot? Jacksonville State does a great job in moving their offensive line in the running game and also in the passing game. If they can reset that line of scrimmage and make plays at or behind the line of scrimmage, that's a win for this Bison defense. I also believe they're going to have to find big plays in the special teams department. I really like what they bring to the table from a kickoff return standpoint and a punt return standpoint. And if there's any weakness in this Jacksonville State Gamecocks football team, it would be within their special teams department in their coverage unit. So there's big plays to be had if you're North Dakota State, and they can't allow Eli Jenkins running room on the perimeter. You want to make this offense one-dimensional. 2 1,000-yard rushers. One is Trumaine Pope, and the other is Eli Jenkins. Make him one-dimensional. Make him beat you consistently from the pocket. If they're able to do that, I think that is ultimately a win for North Dakota State.
It's going to be important for North Dakota State to stop the running game of Jacksonville State. I'm going to show you how they can do so by just simply doing their job and remaining gap sound and gap discipline. Show you what we're talking about here. Spread set 2x2, 2 receivers on each side, 1 back in the backfield with an outstanding quarterback in Eli Jenkins. Now, what you want to do, or what they try to do, is try to pull this tackle around in the hole and get him blocked on his backer here. They want to get this guy hooked, boom, boom. Simple concept, right? And they hand the football off right there, and you want the back to either follow the tackle in the hole or bounce it outside or cut it back. So that's essentially what they try to do. Now, what you should do if you're North Dakota State is simple. Again, you can't allow guys to beat you to the spot. We talk about this a lot. So you want this tackle, boom, to occupy that weak side A gap. You want this nose tackle to not allow that center to get movement. You want to reestablish the line of scrimmage with this nose tackle. His beating the block is key. You ideally want this defensive tackle to get inside this strong side or play side A gap. And obviously you want your defensive end to close this off because you have help here. And as he goes to his read, he reads run. He's flying back up as well in the alley. So you have those 2 defenders here. On the outside, weak side, we like to call it, securing, cutback, and the quarterback pull. So now you have 2 guys defending Eli Jenkins, or if this tailback decides, okay, this is clogged up, I want to bounce it back this way, you have defenders ready and able to make a play, or if he bounces it this way, you have 2 guys ready and able to make a play. Ideally, you want him to stay play side and come right downhill. So what you want to do is have this backer beat this tackle in the hole, beat him to the spot, meet him in the hole, and you allow this backer to come in and make the play at or behind the line of scrimmage. And that's why it's important for guys to occupy their gaps and do their job. This safety can come up and replace that backer once he's freely and aggressively attacking that play side A gap and shutting this run down right here in the backfield. So this is one way North Dakota State can do a great job in stopping the run, because again, if they're allowing Jacksonville State to have success running the football both with the quarterback and the tailback, they could struggle. But it's all about being gap disciplined, remaining assignment sound, and helping your defense get off the field. Jacksonville State does a great job in moving their offensive linemen. They also do a great job in running the football. I'm going to show you how they can get outside versus a very disciplined and very tough North Dakota State defense. Show you what we're talking about here. One formation I like that they utilize, they take the H-back off the line of scrimmage, the tight end, put him in the backfield, and they're going to pull him and this backside guard around and get outside with the running game. And that's a great play for them. I think this is one way they can get outside versus, again, like I said before, a very tough and disciplined front seven of North Dakota State. And what you're essentially doing when you spread the field like this by formation, you're putting an extra guy on the field that's not a run defender. So you're taking a backer off and putting a nickel defender on the field. So here's how they're going to block it up. You want to have this boom. Everybody's going to wash down a little bit. You're going to combo this nose tackle with the guard and center. You're going to have this guard right here pull around. His job is to occupy that defensive end. So he's coming around. You're leaving this defensive end unblocked. Why? Because you're expecting this pulling guard to kick him out of the club right there. Slight motion. He's coming around with him. He's leading the back around. Simple handoff with the tailback. And now he's riding the hip of the H-back and the guard. So he can either cut it in or he can keep it play side and follow the H-back around in the alley as you're going to get these guys to be blocked. You want him to kick him out, and he's going to get first threat. So that could either be the backer or a hard charging safety coming up to try to make a play. You trust your running back in space to make one miss. I think this is one of their stable plays, one of their favorite plays in the running game. I think this is how they can take advantage of a defense of North Dakota State that's very disciplined, that's very active at the line of scrimmage. You want to get these guys outside, blocking them down up front, pulling your guard and your H-back, leading your tailback around that alley. And I think that could be a big play in this game for the Gamecocks.
The biggest X factor in this ball game for Jacksonville State will be the play of their defensive line. They have tremendous talent up front. Guys like Devontae Sigler, LaMichael Fanning, Chris Landrum. Those guys have to play their best game. They have the size, they have the athleticism, but if they get blown off the football, North Dakota State can have their way with this defense. So this defensive line of the Gamecocks has to come ready to play, in this ball game. And I look at redshirt freshman quarterback Easton Stick being the biggest X factor for North Dakota State. He's playing in his first ever title game. Again, redshirt freshman, but that speaks to how well they're able to recruit and how well they're able to prepare these guys that back up their starters, because Stick hit the ground running and looked a lot like Carson Wentz back there in the pocket. But how well he's able to play on the biggest stage in the biggest game of the season could ultimately determine how well they do as a whole. Now here are some 2016 draft prospects you want to keep an eye on in this ball game. Looking at Jacksonville State, defensively they're loaded. Jermaine Huff is one of the best cornerbacks in the FCS at 5'10", 185. I mentioned Devontae Sigler, LaMichael Fanning, and Chris Landrum, all guys with pro prospect potential. And Tromaine Pope, the outstanding tailback, is definitely one you want to keep an eye on. Has tremendous speed, balance, and breaks a lot of tackles for a guy that's 5'9", 205. Now moving over to North Dakota State in this ball game, you won't see Carson Wentz, the big-time prospect at 6'6", 235, but you will see Joe Haig, 6'6", 310. C.J. Smith, the outstanding corner, that's a ball hawk at 5'11", 185. And the best receiver on his football team is Zach Vra, a guy that came up big last year in the championship game versus Illinois State. Is definitely one you want to keep an eye on in this matchup. I like Jacksonville State in this ball game. I think what you'll see is a defensive front seven of the Gamecocks do a great job in slowing down the Bison running attack, which will force Easton Stick to put the football in the air more often than they want to. And I think that matchup definitely favors Jacksonville State in their secondary matching up versus the Bison passing game. I think overall, offensively speaking, when you look at Eli Jenkins and that offensive attack of Jacksonville State, his ability to create things with his legs, not just from a running standpoint, but from a passing standpoint, will give that Bison defense problems. So I think overall, this is the best team, the most complete team North Dakota State has faced in any one of their 5 championship runs, and I think this will be the team to knock them off the top of the FCS ladder and look for Jacksonville State to come away the 2016 FCS champions.